PSA for all my truckers out there, man. If you're not running food, fuel and energy, or electrical equipment to keep this power line going, bro, get out of those contracts. They're gonna get shut down. Get out.
A lot of people been asking me, does it gonna get fixed? Is it gonna get better? I have no fucking clue what is gonna happen because day by day it's getting worse and worse. I have no clue. I haven't seen trucking industry like this in the past 10 years.
Trucking has completely went flat bottom, man. I can honestly tell you these past 3 weeks, it's getting bad,
Someone said if you really want to know what's going on, listen to the truckers. So I searched and I found hundreds and hundreds of those videos. 75% of truckers voted for Donald Trump. I don't want to say you're entering your fuck around and find out phase, but it's like that's exactly what's happening. You are getting exactly what you voted for. You guys are getting laid off. You're not having jobs to fulfill because the shipment yard is empty. Companies are canceling their shipments because of Donald Trump's tariffs. Blanket tariffs. Something he said his whole entire election cycle that he was going to do. Something that we screamed from the mountaintops was a horrendous idea. And yet here we are. You guys are losing your jobs and struggling to feed your families. And our prices at the stores, all of our prices at the stores, are going to go up. Donald Trump's America, man.
90% of the truck drivers voted for Trump. Now they go to the ports and the piers and look for a load to carry, and they find out that half the fucking ships are empty and the other half are being diverted by China to other places.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my channel. My name is Natkola Esther. If you're new here, hi, welcome. If you like my content, please consider subscribing, like, comment, and share. Let me know what you think in the comment section about truck drivers losing their jobs. Literally, they're being laid off. And some people are really not feeling sorry at all for them because they're saying over 70% of them voted for DJT. Now they are in their F around and find out stage. Guys, truckers are losing their jobs. Truckers are losing their jobs. Why? Because the ports are empty. Nothing is coming in from China. The ports are empty, so no ships, which means what are truckers going to carry? Absolutely nothing. Where are they gonna eat? They have families. I feel like America is a movie right now. No, because I feel like everything is happening so fast. Everything is happening extremely fast. And I don't even know how American people are digesting this, all of this. Everything is happening at the same time. Like seaports, literally a week ago. Now truckers don't have jobs. Because it looks like it's a chain. Seaports are empty, truckers don't have jobs, which means they have nothing to transport. That means the shops that they were transporting to are empty, which means people have nothing to eat because there's nothing to buy, because nothing was taken there by the truckers, because they don't even have jobs and the ships are not even coming in. Can America catch a break?
Hello, my friends. How are you doing out there today? I hope you're doing well in the middle of Donald Trump's failed economic and trade policies. More and more American industries are beginning to get hit by the problems that Donald Trump is creating all by himself. So yesterday, we talked a little bit about Mack Trucks in Pennsylvania laying off quite a few employees, and they specifically cited tariffs as the reason they were doing that. And in the video, I had said this is going to be one of the signals, sort of marks the beginning of problems coming to the trucking industry in America, mainly because they're saying that their demand is down and the tariffs are killing them. And if demand is down, that means companies are not swapping out their trucks as often as they used to. Things like that are causing their demand to be down. And I said this signals the beginning of the downfall of the trucking industry. So we're going to talk about that today. For those of you that don't know, I am a truck driver. I'm sitting in my truck right now. I know this industry pretty well. And I was here the last time Donald Trump crashed it through denying COVID, which maybe we'll talk a little bit about in this video. I'll give you a little history lesson on how all that went down. But I want you to understand something. I am not a Donald Trump supporter. I've never voted for Donald Trump. I've never flown a MAGA flag anywhere in my life. As a matter of fact, I've always known that he offers absolutely nothing to working class Americans. And I want to point that out before somebody puts me in one of those fuck around and find out memes on the internet. I never voted for that son of a bitch in my life. I know I look like a dumb hick, but I don't always act like one. I don't always act like one. Okay, my friends? So, yeah, don't turn me into a goddamn goddamn meme on the internet, all right? I've always been against this bastard. Anyways, we have got major problems coming down the line for trucking. I said in yesterday's video that we tend to lag behind the economy because a lot of things are shipped in on the shipping containers. That takes time, according to one of my viewers, around 20 days to make that trek. And then we move everything that's already come in, and that takes us, you know, a week to move it across the entire country. And that causes this huge lag before we really start to feel the effects of what is going on. And now we're starting to see it in the shipping, in the ports, all the products coming into America. And pretty soon here, that's going to affect trucking in a very, very negative way. And the vast majority of truck drivers, for some fucking reason, vote for Donald Trump overwhelmingly. And it's unfortunate that I'm probably going to get hit by this too, but I've always said since the beginning of this that unfortunately we're going to have to go through these bad times, because maybe in the future, if we survive this, people will be more responsible with their fucking votes. But I don't really know. But one of my viewers is also a truck driver, said he noticed that he works out of the ports, and said that he has noticed a significant slowdown over there, which I thought was interesting news. But what I thought was even more interesting was I was talking to another truck driver that didn't have his head all the way up Donald Trump's ass. And that was truly the most shocking part of the entire conversation. So shout out to that guy for getting his head on straight too. I don't know if he was ever supporting Trump or not, but apparently not now. So that's good news. Anyways, the ports are definitely starting to slow down, and there is some metrics you can track to see this. And one of those is called, what was it called? Hold on. I had to go look it up because I keep forgetting the term, but it's called blank sailing. And blank sailing means that there are shipping ships out there that are skipping over ports because they don't have enough product going to that specific port, so they just move on to the next one. Or I guess from what I read, it's entirely possible that the entire ship gets canceled because there's just not enough freight to move. And that is the biggest metric that we are seeing now, and that is going to hit the ports. According to the experts, it's really going to get bad right around the 1st of May. And that means all the truck drivers that are hauling out of those ports to provide goods to the American population are going to quickly find themselves out of a fucking job, no work to do whatsoever. Now, there are a lot of short-sighted, small-minded people out there that go, well, what's that got to do with me? I don't haul shit out of them ports. Well, you got to think of all the displaced truckers now.
About 4 years ago, when COVID was kind of at its height, we had a bunch of truckers shut down and told you can't carry things from here to there. We had a bunch of truckers told you can't go from the United States to Canada and back and forth. And oh my goodness, were they angry. They started to drive around and stop in different cities and run different protests to say, we have to be allowed to work. We have to be allowed to work. You can't let your government action, President Biden at the time, stop us from working. And they just insisted that every step along the way needed to be cleared. Well, a lot of those folks voted for Trump. And what's starting to happen this week, with 20% of the dock traffic down and all of the indicators seeming to suggest that that's only going to increase, the loads aren't there. The things that truckers carry from point A to point B, they don't exist in the United States, which means that there's nothing for them to carry. And nobody's going to pay them just to run empty trucks so that they can keep working. And I'm starting to see these truckers come around and say, yeah, this kind of sucks. I've been stuck in the same place for X many days and haven't gotten my load. That's a problem. That is absolutely the kind of a problem that they were complaining about 4 years ago when COVID was, like I said, at its height. It's going to be interesting to see how much tolerance truckers have for Donald Trump's policies, these tariffs that have caused companies to stop importing things from China and from any place else that had a big tariff or an uncertain tariff. We just don't have as much stuff coming. What are they going to do? Are they going to say, take the damn tariffs off, make the deals, reach out to all of these people, make sure that your meetings with China that you're saying are happening are actually happening, and you can cite days, times, and people involved? because that stuff isn't happening right now. The efforts today, if we made deals today, it would still be 2 to 3 months before that traffic starts hitting our ports again. We're seeing the first parts of the drop downs from a month ago when we had Liberation Day. Yeah, liberation from the dollar, liberation from making money here in the United States for a lot of people like truckers. It's going to be an interesting few months. I'm trying to figure out what to do with my business. I had a big summer planned. I'm going to spend a whole bunch of money to launch several books all at once, make a big effort. And with this turn in the economy, I'm starting to question, am I going to make that money back? Does it make sense to do it that way, or should I cut down and do a much less fun, much more digital marketing effort? It sucks for me, but we're going to be all right. Is everybody going to be all right? No. So if you're involved in one of those industries, if you've felt the pinch, or if you and your industry is just having a gangbusters year, let me know what that is. Love to hear on both sides of the aisle what you've got going. We'll talk about it. Yeah. Personally, I think maybe we should get rid of a bunch of these stupid tariffs and start having conversations, active, outgoing conversations, rather than saying we're going to wait for them to call us because we're the more important people here. Yeah. We'll make it. We'll figure it out. And I'll be here to talk about it. Yeah. Have a good one.
We have some crazy breaking news right now. Trump's newest victims are a group of Americans that we actually need to survive in this country. The American truck driver. The sad thing is 90% of these truck drivers voted for Trump in the 2024 election. And it doesn't stop there. The whole shipping industry is under attack by Trump. They are collapsing right now, guys, and no one is talking about it. Since April 1st, imports from China have dropped 36%. Ports like Los Angeles are reporting a 35% plunge in cargo. At least 80 cargo ships have gone, canceled, diverted, or are empty. Inside the United States, freight volumes have crashed 14.9% compared to last year. Thousands of truck drivers are now losing loads and losing jobs. Volvo just announced layoffs. 800 American workers are being cut. Independent truckers, the people we keep America running with, are barely surviving. Here's the hardest part. The truck drivers were some of Donald Trump's strongest supporters. 90%, guys, 90% of them voted for Trump. And look how he's treating them. This is insane. I don't understand. This isn't about politics anymore. This is about an American economic collapse happening right before our eyes.
Hey, I'm Rody. So this is a topic that has been talked about by a lot of truck drivers, and I know it's been a concern of a lot of people, and that is possible layoffs within the trucking industry due to these tariffs. Well, a new U.S. asset management firm has warned some alert bells for American truck drivers that layoffs are possible and possibly a lot sooner than we expected. First off, before I continue with this story, I do want to say I'm not trying to play politics here, and I'm not saying what party line I'm on. I'm just trying to report factual information that is out there and how this could truly affect the American truck driver out there, because obviously we don't want any of our truckers being laid off. But they say that due to the tariffs being implemented, that this could mean that truck drivers are being laid off as soon as mid to end May, as they suspect that the tariffs are going to drastically affect our global economy, leaving some stores with bare shelves of certain products. Now, this report that has been issued by the Apollo Global Management was looking ahead on what impact Americans can expect on the impact of Trump administration tariffs on our economy in the upcoming months. Now, in their April 2025 report, they said that they are expecting supply chain disruption, reduced confidence from consumers in their spending, and by summer, a likely economic recession due to all the tariffs being implemented. Now, in the report, which is raising a lot of alarm bells with a lot of trucking industry people, is that it did say what stood out as far as to the American truck drivers is that because they are calling for empty store shelves, that they are also expecting possible layoffs to truck drivers. They are expecting these layoffs to come as soon as mid to the end of May, and they suspect that the trucking demand is going to come to a halt by the end of May into June, leading into a summer recession. So I just kind of want to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions on this. Do you think that this could happen due to all the tariffs that are currently being put into place? And are you worried about losing your job? We all know that everybody's in different sectors of the trucking industry, so it all kind of depends on what you're hauling, on whether or not you think that you're going to be infected. But have you heard anything? What are the rumblings that you guys are hearing? I know that there are certain industries that are kind of shaky. They've been on shaky grounds for the last year and a half, and that a lot of trucking companies are feeling the heat due to these tariffs.
Seattle, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Houston, New Orleans, Miami, Virginia, New York, Boston, the Great Lakes, Shanghai, Vietnam. I'm seeing a lot of posts like this about how there are no ships in our ports, and it certainly kind of looks like that from these real-time maritime maps. I'm no expert in this, and I don't have any history in it, but it sure would be great if somebody who did could chime in and let us know if this is normal or if this is something we should be concerned about.
So I'm heading to the port of Long Beach right now to actually see what the hell is going on. At the very moment, there's one cargo ship, but it's literally out in the bay. Normally, when I'm here, there's like at least 5 or 6 cargo ships. The thing that's really scary right now is that I don't smell any truck gasoline. This is like the freshest I've ever smelled the port. And I've come here for raves. Like, what the hell? All right, clear road, here we go. Okay, the first obvious sign is wild. This is a 710 right here. Normally, this whole road is filled with trucks. Like, there's barely a single truck that's like stopped except for that guy right there. And look at that, that's like a flatbed. Okay, you got one container, and you got another container. But outside of that, like, there's usually a traffic jam here. There's no traffic jam. Now I'm heading towards the Queen Mary so that way I can try and get a better view. There she is, the Queen Mary in all her beauty. Thank you, Long Beach, for keeping this beautiful ship. Okay, good sign right there. There are some trucks. One's got some cargo. There's 1, 2, 3. One has no cargo, that's scary. I also see shipping containers, which is a good sign. That truck has nothing. That's wild. Normally these flatbed trucks have containers on them. Another truck. These trucks are fucking empty. Yo, this is scary. Seeing empty flatbed trucks is wild. This whole road would be filled with trucks. Filled with trucks. Look, another empty truck. And there goes my health insurance. Who needs universal health care when you can have a massive military helicopter like the beautiful Romeo? Bye, health insurance. Okay, here's something I noticed. There's more trucks going in, which is good, but every truck that's come out has been empty, like empty flatbeds. Well, out of like 10 I've seen so far that were empty, there's one with a container, which is a good sign. But like, notice the cranes. The cranes aren't moving. They're not moving one bit. Another empty one. Literally for the past like 3-5 minutes that I've been here, I have not seen a single crane move. This is definitely not a good sign. I don't see any cranes moving. I don't see any longshoremen on the cranes. I literally see more flatbed trucks with empty cargo. And on top of that, I don't smell fucking gasoline out here. Normally, I'm hawking up a loogie because of how much gasoline there is in the port of Long Beach, but there's no gas smell. It's safe to say that we most definitely are in for it. So after carefully observing the port of Long Beach, I noticed no cranes were moving. There were no longshoremen on the cranes. no shipping containers were picked up, and almost every single truck that had a shipping container was going into the port, and almost every truck coming out of the port was empty. There were a few stragglers, which is a good sign, but I am very concerned now. Port of Long Beach is like one of the largest employers in SoCal, so this is fucking wild. Long Beach has the second busiest port in the United States, and not a single crane was moving. You may do what you want with this video, but it is safe to say from my perspective, we are royally screwed.